A Private's Affair on Night Shift Movie later tonight on 7. This is Channel 7's 11 o'clock Action News with Bill Bonds, John Kelly, and Detroit's #1 news team.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Bonds, and here's a look at what's happening tonight. And what's happening is that the swine flu vaccination program ground to a halt from coast to coast today.
Thousands of layoffs ahead for the auto industry this coming new year. We'll have that story, and we'll talk to an expert tonight about what's causing those mystery explosions on the Atlantic coast. Gordon?
Well, maybe the best thing to do about that Nazi bookstore in Detroit is ignore it. We'll have more on that opinion. And the magic was missing for the University of Detroit tonight, only because the magic was working for Michigan State. Larry Adderley will have details on that story.
Bill Bonds and Diana Lewis are off tonight. Don Lark, Gordon Graham sitting in. We'll have those stories, more news coming up next on Channel 7's 11 o'clock Action News Update.
Larry with sports, Rob with the weather, and Detroit's #1 news team join Don Lark and Gordon Graham for Channel 7 Action News 11 p.m. update next.
Channel 7 Detroit, Michigan's #1 news station.
Wayne County closes parks early because of the money crunch. The story after the movie.
This is a Channel 7 Action News Brief with Rich Fisher.
Good evening. U.S. officials are negotiating the release of 90 Americans being held hostage in the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, Iran. Ku Klux Klan's members in Greensboro, North Carolina deny any connection with the violence yesterday that left 4 people dead. The Vietnamese government is still refusing to allow massive aid to starving Cambodians, and UAW President Douglas Frazier says Chrysler workers may be called upon to make further sacrifices to save the company.
This has been a Channel 7 Action News Brief with Rich Fisher. Good morning, this is Channel 7 Action News, sign-off edition, Al Pinter reporting. It would be nice to come out of the Easter holiday with some good news about the hostage crisis, but instead, we have yet another report of hostages being taken, this time in Israel. This is Wxyz-Tv, Channel 7 Detroit.
Good morning, this is the early morning Channel 7 Action News, the latest local, national, and world news from the Channel 7 newsroom.
Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's 5:30 Action News with Bill Bonds, Diana Lewis, and Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everybody. 12 long years of...
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's 11 p.m. Action News with Rich Fisher, Suzanne Jiha, and Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everyone. The Wayne County Community College Board of Trustees has voted to settle a legal dispute with former President Reginald Wilson, whom they fired last May.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News Weekend Update with Don Lark, John Gross, and Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, Highland Park.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's 5:30 Action News with Bill Bonds, Diana Lewis, and Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everybody. Without... Good evening, everybody. Genetic engineering, tampering with nature, if you will.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's 11 p.m. Action News with Mike Hofeld, Mary Conway, and Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. When the Challenger blew up, it appeared that the entire spacecraft was vaporized by the force of the explosion.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's 6 o'clock Action News with Dana Eubanks, Guy Gordon in for Mike Hofeld, and Detroit's first news team.
Good evening. Our top story tonight centers on another type of opening day at Tiger Stadium.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's Action News with Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everyone. Some of the nation's most powerful political leaders and civil rights activists gathered in Detroit tonight.
While the worst of the flooding is now over across much of the central portion of Michigan, the worst could be yet to come for one hard-hit area. We'll have the latest details on the flooding situation across the state, including a live report from News Star 7. Mary?
American journalist Nicholas Daniloff held his first press conference today since being released from a Soviet prison on spying charges. And a lot of people who had tickets to today's Lions game had a tough time just getting to the stadium. We'll explain. Guy?
I'm Guy Gordon with Mary Conway. Join us for those stories and all the latest news. The Lions got roughed up by the Cowboys today. Jay will have the highlights, and Jim Mattis will have our complete weather forecast. All next on Channel 7 Sunday 6 o'clock Action News.
a young man be beaten to death with a baseball bat by another man and not have his civil rights violated? That is a question that a lot of people are asking tonight. Good evening, everybody.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News Midday with Rich Fisher, Robbie Timmons, Rob Kress, and Detroit's first news team.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our top story this midday, Lawrence Delisle in court today to find out his fate, and yes, he will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News, 5 p.m. with Bill Barnes, Robbie Timmons, and Detroit's first news team.
It was emotional and it was riveting. A man from Michigan, a U.S. Senator, Don Regal of Michigan, fighting for his political life, his reputation right now in Washington, D.C.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News, 5 p.m. with Robbie Timmons, Rich Fisher in for Bill Bonds, and Detroit's first news team. From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News with Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everybody. I assume that you saw what I saw. The pictures were not pretty. The words were not pretty for the...
This is Channel 7 Saturday Action News with Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everyone. David has done it again. Goliath is dead. Michigan State has upset #1 ranked Michigan in college football.
Good evening, everybody. Say hello to the Arctic Express, a January cold snap that promises to run for a week and maybe even longer with the lowest temperatures to hit this Detroit metropolitan area since January.
This is a Channel 7 Action News Brief brought to you in part by Eternity for Men and Hudson's.
Good evening. A Detroit fire truck goes out of control and crashes. Now, witnesses tonight are telling police that the firemen driving the truck were drunk. We'll have complete coverage for you. Also,
this is Bill Bonds. Channel 7 News is next.
People celebrated the life of the man who gave the world the Muppets. Thousands paying tribute to Jim Henson. The Tigers, man, they look like World Series winners. My prediction is the Pistons could win it all in 2. News, sports, and weather tonight at 11.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News this morning with Eric Smith and Detroit's first news team.
Well, good morning, everybody. At 7:25, Detroit's official temperature up 5 degrees in the past hour. It's now 69 out there at Metro Airport. We've got partly cloudy skies, some sunshine here, some clouds there, here and there, and it's going to get rather warm.
This is Action News Midday, the latest news from Detroit's first news team.
George W. Romney is being remembered today as a man.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News, 5 p.m. with Bill Bonds, Robbie Timmons, and Detroit's first news team.
What kind of a game is Saddam Hussein playing? Obviously, he must be aware that if there's another war, he cannot win it. He did not win the last one. So what's really going on over there? Well, push came...
This is Channel 7 Action News, 5 p.m. with Robbie Timmons, Frank Turner, and Detroit's first news team.
Detroit and Wayne and Midland counties are slapped with a lawsuit after the police.
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 6 o'clock Action News with Detroit's first news team.
She wanted to improve her appearance with hair dye. Now she is swollen and...
From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7 Action News with Detroit's first news team.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, take a guess.
College football, the ambush in East Lansing.
Good evening, everyone. Here's what's happening. A night of talks between negotiators for the Detroit School Board and the union for striking teachers ended with a glimmer of optimism.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, angry protests at a house of worship in Washtenaw County. Now, it's at the center of a sexual abuse case involving several young children.
He loved his family, and he loved the Lord. We prayed every morning, we prayed every night together. He adored his children.
Longtime Michigan governor, presidential candidate, auto company chief executive, family man. Today, George Romney's life ended at the age of 88. He led Michigan during the 1960s and even made a run for the White House. Tonight, everyone is mourning his loss. Good evening, I'm Robbie Timmons.
And I'm Frank Turner.
This is a Channel 7 Action News Brief with Guy Gordon.
Good evening. Grave concern tonight that the deadly Ebola virus has hit North America. The disease is ravaging people in Africa. Tonight, Action News has learned new details of how it may have arrived across the border in Canada. A mother who risked her life to save her unborn child celebrates a miracle and shares her touching story with Channel 7, and you'll hear it. He is dangerous, and he's on the loose. Tonight, Action News exposes this criminal in the fugitive files. And your looks could change the way people treat you. Tonight, see how to change your appearance to get the most out of life. Join us at 11.
WXYZ, where 7 stands for news. This is Channel 7 Action News, 5 p.m. From WXYZ, where 7 stands for news. This is Channel 7, 6 p.m. Action News. From WXYZ, where 7 stands for news. This is Channel 7 Action News tonight.
Good evening, everybody. We have breaking news this evening after he stepped down from the stand today.
Now, looking ahead to Action News tonight, here's Mike Holfeld.
Coming up tonight at 11, a day of terror unfolds for a 9-year-old Detroit girl abducted at a neighborhood store. We'll have a live report for you. A grieving family offers a big reward to find a local doctor's killer. The Freeman folks, the standoff could be close to an end. We'll tell you about an agreement worked out tonight. Plus, does your budget take a beating when you go shopping? We'll have tips on how to avoid the tricks used to get your dollar. Tonight at 11. Hope to see you then.
You're watching WXYZ 7, where 7 stands for news. This is Action News tonight.
He did not do this to Renita. He did. He loves her to death.
She's finding it hard to believe her son is in custody tonight for a shocking attack against a little girl. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Guy Gordon.
And I'm Diana Lewis. Police say
7 stands for news. This is WXYZ 7 Action News, 6 p.m. 7 stands for news. This is WXYZ 7 Action News tonight.
Tonight, for the sake of our unity as a people and the strength of our democracy, I offer my concession.
This evening, I received a gracious call from the Vice President. We agreed to meet early next week in Washington.
Their battle ends as our battle begins with a second blast of snow clobbering southeast Michigan.
Good evening. First tonight, Metro Detroit getting blanketed by a second blast of wintry weather. More than a dozen local school districts have already canceled classes for tomorrow, and you can see those closings at the bottom of your screen tonight.
You're watching WXYZ 7. Now, Action News at 5 with Robbie Timmons, Frank Turner, Jerry Hudak with Doppler 7 weather, and Don Shane on sports.
Slushy roads could turn icy and dangerous tonight because frigid temperatures are on the way.
You're watching WXYZ 7. Now, Action News.
Friends and family are in shock tonight after a highly honored police officer.
You're watching WXYZ 7. Now, Action News at 11 with Diana Lewis, Guy Gordon, Jerry Hudak with Doppler 7 weather, and sports with Don Shane.
I will not leave the American people at the mercy of the Iraqi dictator.
You're watching WXYZ 7. Now, Action News at 11.
We have local breaking news on Detroit's east side tonight. At least one person hurt.
With Frank Turner, Carolyn Clifford, Mary Kay Kleist with weather, and sports with Dave Llewellyn.
I wasn't really...
WXYZ 7. Now, Action News at 5.
We begin tonight with this breaking news. A trench collapsed, trapping a father and his son. Rescuers freed one man, but they are still trying to reach the other. Good evening, everyone. The father and son plumbing team were fixing a broken pipe when the ground caved in.
Live, this is a severe weather alert from Channel 7 Action News.
And we begin tonight with a flash flood warning as heavy rains move in on the Detroit area. Chopper 7 is over an overpass in southwest Detroit.
Well, if you broke your ankle jumping off the Pistons bandwagon, wrap it and get ready for Thursday, because there will be a Game 7. Good evening, everybody.
You're watching Wxyz-7. Now, Action News at 11.
What really happened inside these walls of Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq?
You're watching Detroit's first high-definition newscast. 7 Action News at noon. You're watching Detroit's first high-definition newscast. 7 Action News at 5.
The biggest beef recall in American history has schools scrambling. They're trying to find replacements for that meat. So far, at least a dozen school districts in our area have been hit by the recall.
You're watching Channel 7, named Michigan's Station of the Year. This is 7 Action News at 6.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Washington.
You're watching Channel 7, named Michigan's Station of the Year. This is 7 Action News at 7.
Hey, Kelly, you didn't forget to bring that beautiful woman with you, did you?
Who's that?
That would be the one sitting next to you, pal.
Oh, you mean my wonderful wife, yes.
Here I am.
We had lived the opening, but that's the way it's always been. It's been a while, more like 1,000 years since the three of us have been in this room. We're glad we're here, and we sure are glad you're here for a very special edition of Channel 7 Action News at 7. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Bonds.
And I'm John Kelly, and we are indeed, all of us, marking the 60th anniversary of Channel 7 with the team that put Action News on the broadcast map, actually, in the early 1970s. It's good to be back at the...
WXYZ-7 is on your side. Now, 7 Action News at 7.
It'll take a while for the mayor to be up and around again, but tonight doctors say he is at least doing well in his fight with a bout of diverticulitis. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Frank Turner.
You're watching Detroit's first high-definition newscast. 7 Action News at 11.
Temperatures are plummeting into the single digits, sending Metro Detroit into a deep freeze.
The computer genius who literally changed the way we live has died. Next at 11, you'll hear what Apple and the world are saying about the passing of Steve Jobs.
Plus, the latest chapter in the Wayne County severance scandal. You'll see how uncomfortable Robert Ficano appears when investigator Heather Catallo asks him the really tough questions.
Also hear why that rumored Manoogian Mansion party could cost taxpayers even more money.
And there's simply nothing better we can say about the weather. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Stephen Clark, and it's all coming up next here on 7 Action News at 11.
Now, Channel 7 Action News.
Ford is the leader of the pack tonight as Detroit's Big Three.
Channel 7 Action News starts right now.
A contentious day in court moved Kwame Kilpatrick to tears when prosecutors played the tape from a jailhouse phone call with his wife. Good evening. I'm Diana Lewis.
And I'm Stephen Clark. It's not over yet. The ex-Detroit mayor is due back in court tomorrow morning again for a restitution hearing that has ripped the lid off his family's privacy.
Channel 7 Action News starts right now.
A violent attack at this home is shattering a family tonight. 3 people were hurt, and police say one of their own relatives is to blame. Good evening. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Stephen Clark. The person in custody is accused of picking up a hammer and using it like a weapon. As Action News reporter Cheryl Chook.
7 Action News starts right now.
Why a woman grabbed a 7 Action News tripod and smashed it on the ground.
It's terrible they have to try to live like this.
A gravely ill man bundled up in his home. His thermostat reads 44 degrees. How 7 Action News helped this man who's suffering in the cold.
Newt Gingrich pulls an upset in South Carolina. Could this win be a game changer in the Republican presidential race?
Gingrich won the primary by double digits. It's a stunning comeback for a candidate who trailed Mitt Romney by 10 points in the polls just last week.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News starts right now.
Back at work, some Detroit City employees are now back on the job.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 4 starts right now.
Good afternoon to you. I'm Carolyn Clifford. So good to be with you on this Monday. We begin with the latest developments in the COVID-19 crisis as the battle.
You're watching 7 Action News, always taking action for you.
Controversial Christmas gift.
Mr. Kilpatrick, did you actually receive those funds? Funds from a Chicago pastor?
If he did, Kwame Kilpatrick could be headed right back to jail. Wait until you see what a security camera caught.
Panic at the gas station.
Someone just stole my truck from Yarmouth. Hoover got my 3-month-old daughter in the back.
Cops jump into action, but tonight, see why her father could face charges.
Winter warm-up.
It's going to feel like spring in January. You've got to see your 7 First Alert forecast.
Drama in Detroit.
A City Hall bombshell. The city attorney removed immediately. Will it help avoid a state takeover?
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 5 starts right now.
The plan to move forward.
So let's not make all the work that we have done, meritless.
What is needed to get Michigan?
For you. 7 Action News at 6 starts right now.
A raid in Detroit. Federal authorities break up a cockfighting ring on the city's southwest side.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 7 starts right now.
Fight for power. Republican leaders suing.
You're watching 7 Action News at 10 on TV 20 Detroit.
Good evening. There is a lot happening tonight, including a $50 million lawsuit expected to be filed against the state of Michigan.
Tomorrow morning will be the coldest fall morning we've had. And we're tracking travel troubles for your holiday.
This is breaking news from the 7 Action Newsroom.
And we begin tonight with that.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News this morning starts right now.
First at 6, preparing for more protests. Outrage over the governor's extended stay-at-home order.
This is the most extreme government overreach.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News starts right now.
Furloughs for thousands of state workers. The governor making the tough decision to save millions of dollars.
On 7 Action News at 4.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 4 starts right now.
Good afternoon to you. I'm Carolyn Clifford. So good to be with you on this Wednesday. We begin with the latest developments in the coronavirus. 7 Action News at 5 is coming your way next.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 5 starts right now.
Government cuts. Michigan furloughing 2/3 of its state workers.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 6 starts right now.
Escalating anger.
Tomorrow, protesters, some of them armed, are expected again in the state capitol as they speak out against the governor's stay-at-home order.
We are going to have a board.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 11 starts right now.
Tonight, making millions in Michigan.
People taking action for you. 7 Action News this morning starts right now.
Breaking right now, police are searching for a missing 5-day-old baby on Michigan's west side who...
Taking action for you. This is a local news update from 7 Action News.
Good morning, it's 8:27. I'm Keenan Smith. A lawsuit against Governor Whitmer over her use of emergency powers will head to court today.